This is the training we're doing right now is specifically for sales. This is talking about, we're going to discuss today basically how this software that you're using works and the best way to go about marketing that software. So this is good for your salespeople. It's good for you if you're doing your own sales. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. I'll stall for a minute. Okay. We had one person who's going to be putting a sales team on, so we're going to give him a minute to get those people on. So that's exactly what we're here for. This is being recorded. Yes. This is being recorded. Lots of questions that I just barely got going here. I don't usually have this many questions so fast. That's good. I'm just going to let you guys know, my headset may start to die on me. If it does, just let me know. I'll plug it in. And I'll use it while it's plugged in. So if my audio starts to get bad or crackly, let me know. Okie dokie. Okay. Are we all ready to go? We got your salespeople settled? I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. My name is Melissa. I come from a direct mail marketing background. I work here at our headquarters, and it's my pleasure to be doing this training with you guys today. Actually have some more introductory information for you if we're ready to get started, and I'll go ahead and get rolling here quickly. Okay, so basically what we're talking about here today, no, not beeping right now. Okay, good. As I was saying, please close any unused internet. Okay, let me close some of these other applications that are running over here. Okay, so basically, as I was saying, my name is Melissa. I come from a direct mail marketing background. I'm happy to work with this company. I've been here at the headquarters for quite some time. My background is much more focused on physical marketing elements and aspects. That's what my experience is in. So this has been a lot of fun trying to kind of work with the software as a service industry and get more acquainted with how this whole dealing with customers in this way has been. It's a little bit different, the phone sales aspect, as opposed to the in-person sales, but you can be doing either, so this will be great for anybody and however you're doing it. Okay, so so these are the things that we're going to be covering today. We're going to be talking about, we're trying to give you a solid understanding of what can be done with the software. So I want you to understand what you can do with it, not so much technically how you can do it, but what you can do with it. Andy will be covering any of the technical stuff on how to actually execute these campaigns. We're going to be talking about conceptual stuff, conceptual things today. So today is mostly about concepts and that it's possible, okay, and how to do it technically. That's going to be more of Andy's department. So this is what we're talking about today, which is going to lead into the things you need to know in order to make the sale. So then we're also going to talk about practical applications of our software for different businesses. And then tomorrow, Mark's going to go over a day in the life, daily money-making habits for success. So he's going to be talking more about actually making the sale. Okay, so today I'm kind of giving you that background conceptual understanding of what it is that you've got that you're selling. And then tomorrow, Mark's going to tell you how to go about selling it. So before we move on, really quickly, what is marketing? I just wanted to touch on this really quick. So the entirety of the user experience is really what marketing is all about. And I've got this long drawn out definition down here. It's a systematic planning, implementation, and control of activities intended to bring together buyers and sellers in a mutually beneficial relationship to include all activity that has the potential to influence the business's relationship with the end user. And that made perfect sense to me when I wrote it, but you really have to sit there and digest it to actually have it make sense to you anymore. But essentially, it's the entirety of the user experience. So your marketing is basically everything. So the reason I want to talk about what marketing is so that we could talk about how that relates to sales and marketing automation, which is the technology that you're using. So what is sales and marketing automation? It kind of has that broad, confusing sort of just generic sound to it. Like what is that? So this is kind of this is the definition we put together, okay? So sales and marketing automation is software platforms and technologies designed to more effectively market through multiple channels such as email, SMS, websites, etc. by automating repetitive tasks. So basically, it's supposed to help you with your processes by automating those processes. It's going to help you stay in front of people, keep in touch with people, keep track of your communications with people. All of that put together, it's supposed to help make your life easier and more efficient if you're in sales and marketing, or if you're selling something to another person, which most businesses are. So now, what are some of the benefits to marketing automation? Why is it so important? Why does a business need to be using this type of software? So, one of the stats we have here is it'll blow away your competition, okay? So 63% of companies growing faster than their competition use marketing automation tactics or software. And that comes from the Lenski Gold Group. Next one here is you can close more of your leads, and this is companies who use marketing automation convert 53% more of their leads. So you can also be reducing your customer acquisition cost. It says right here, almost 1.5 times better customer acquisition cost, and we know that that's because you're automating your processes, and automating your processes is always going to help you save money. And right here we have a quick return on investment. So 75% of companies using marketing automation see a return on investment in just 12 months. And that, may seem like a long time to some, but in all reality, when you look at the long life of a business, and the stats are from, we have these little tiny, I don't know if you can see where my mouse is at, I've got these tiny little footnotes down here. So this first one here is from the Aberdeen Group, and this one here is from Focus Research. Okay. All right, so the future forecast of marketing automation, and I should have said this to begin with, sorry, we've got a choppy start going. I just want to let you guys know, if you do have questions, I'll do my best to kind of keep an eye on the chat box and answer them as we go. But I'll try to take I will take your questions in between sections, and I do promise that much at the very least. So if you don't have time to get them in on the slide and I don't notice it, don't worry, I will take all your questions in between. I think we have 3 sections we're covering today. Okay, so the future forecast of marketing automation. Marketing automation will be growing faster than any other CRM segment over the next 3 years. And this comes from the University of Dallas Marketing Automation Software Competitive Analysis Report. This was from this year, January 22nd, 2015. So this is quite a strong prediction. And we just kind of wanted to talk about the growth of it, just so you know what kind of industry this is that you're in. And here are the, what do you call those, footnotes down here from where these come from. So basically, the marketing automation software market size was approximately $750 million in sales revenue for 2013, which is this tiny little bar down here. Then, by the end of last year, it had reached upwards of $3 billion in sales. So this is the 2014 line right here. And marketing automation software revenues worldwide have been estimated to reach $5.5 billion by 2019, which would be this bar here. Now, in 2013, they had actually estimated that we would be at 1.9 billion in 2014. So that's significantly surpassed their estimation. I would not be surprised if this is a conservative estimate as well for 2019. Okay. So let's talk about some of the driving factors. What is driving this industry? So some of the driving factors creating a demand for this type of software would include, your marketing accountability. You've got marketing executives that have to be much more accountable for their expenditures, and this type of software can help you keep better track of what you're spending your money on. There's a third-party application ecosystem, so there's lots of plug-and-play type third-party apps that will work now across different types of, two totally different companies can have, integrations now into what they're doing. So it's very plug-and-play, third-party application friendly. And plus you've also got the smartphones and the iPads and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of communication between all these different types of methods of working that are now communicating much better. You've also got a growth in multiple online channels, which is kind of what we were talking about before, which is, you want to communicate with somebody in the way that they want to be communicated, whether it be email, whether it be a phone call, whether it be video. We have all these different ways of communicating with people. And when we're trying to integrate those things like, marketing automation software are going to help you with that dramatically. So what are some of the challenges? And you should be aware of these as well. Some of the challenges have hindered to some extent automation software would be rapidly developing technologies. I don't know if you guys remember, but for a while there we had QR codes and everybody had to have a QR code for this or that, and then it was, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and they just kind of came and went so fast, they're like a flash in the pan and they were gone. So this is one of those things that as marketers, we're always having difficulty trying to keep up with the newest technology and be on the cutting edge while still finding something that's going to have staying power and be actually relevant and help people in the long run. Then there's public concerns over data privacy, which tends to be more of an issue with the let's say 35 and over crowd. From some of the information I've looked at, it surprises me, but looks like millennials and that whole age group are far less concerned about their privacy, and they just consider basically everything about them is public domain. That tends to be what I have understood about the millennial generation and those younger than that. I don't know. I'm on the border, and I'm telling you right now, I'm very concerned about my data privacy, and I don't like having to share things, with anybody if I don't have to, just because and it's not so much that I have anything that I want to hide. It's just, the principle of the matter. I don't need my entire life being published online. So, but this is still a concern, especially with the older generation. Although even that generation is I would, in my opinion, doesn't care about it as much. So anyway, company-specific solutions for organizations is something else that has been kind of a hindrance, because there are so many organizations out there that think that they need a solution that specifically fits for their little business, and that would be great if that could be the case for all of them. If we could just make a brand new software every time a business came out and said that they wanted it, which is absolutely doable, but I mean, they probably weren't going to want to pay for that. But anyway, so that type of mentality is somewhat of a hindrance, but really not that much. So before we move on, advertising versus marketing automation is one thing I have here that we're going to talk about. So we talked about the difference between marketing and marketing automation. So let's talk about the difference between advertising and marketing automation and the similarities as well. So advertising is meant to generate new leads from people who've never heard or interacted with your business, most likely, or at least create clients out of those. And it's also going to generate awareness campaigns that are intended to keep the brand top of mind at the time of purchase, whenever such a time may arise. So how does that differ from marketing automation? Okay, so your marketing automation is designed to maximize consumer engagement with your brand. Okay, it's also going to help lead the prospect towards the sale. So with your constant outreach to them, you should be leading them towards their sale. So that's also going to take some time off of your hands that you won't have to do it, because these processes should be automated. Okay, and as I said here, it's going to automate the prospect to client conversion process. It's going to help you automate that. I think to just flat out say it's going to automate it all together would suggest that you aren't going to have to do anything. Excuse me, which we all know to be the case is not the case. That's not to suggest that you won't have an active process in the selling process, because from my experience, people sell things. Emails don't make sales. Unfortunately, we do our best to set you up with emails and all of our other technologies, but when it comes down to it, the most successful way to actually make the sale is when the time arrives. You get on the phone, you get an appointment, and you make the sale. Mark will talk more detail about that though tomorrow. Okay, so before we move on, are there any questions of anything we covered so far? I know I kind of went over it a little bit fast. I suppose we're trying to catch up, but I probably didn't have to do that to that extent. So do you guys have any questions over anything we just talked about? Any thoughts? Feel free, this is the right time to go ahead and type any questions you would have into the chat box, and I will try to address them before we move on. I'll give you guys a second in case anybody's typing. Okay. You mentioned it. Okay, yes, I did mention integration. You have a specific question? No? Okay. Okay, we do promote, okay. Does our system integrate with, okay, does our system integrate with any third-party software? Yes, we do integrate with some third-party software. I will answer that specifically for you after class if you just remind me, Tressa. And then Joshua, I can't answer that question for you right now. But I would say, here, I can answer you. Yeah. Joshua asked me that after class too. Sorry, guys. So let's go ahead and continue. Don't even forget those, and I'll come back to those, okay? All right. So before we move on, we just wanted to kind of go into, wait, did I skip something? Okay. So we're just going to say here, don't get stuck on the features. So we're going to be talking a lot about features going into this next section. We're going to be this very feature rich. It's kind of boring. It's not as interesting. It's kind of like technical, but not technical at all, really. It's just about what does the software do. After this, we're going to get into the applications of the software. Who is our target market? Those types of things. So this is kind of just, the features part. So you should know what it does, but don't get stuck on these during the sale process. and I probably just went over everything on this slide. So while we will be discussing features and abilities of software, don't get hung up on the features, focus on those features or how they can be used to benefit the prospect, and that's something else I said Mark's going to get into tomorrow. So just remember, you're not selling software, you're selling a solution. Don't sell somebody a problem, sell them something that's going to help them with their problem. So let's just take a brief overview of the software. And before we go on, do you guys want to let me know in the chat box? It'd be really awesome what your experience level is with it. Have any of you guys gotten into it yet? I know there's some of you guys are familiar here, so. Okay, so some of you guys have gotten into it so far. How much have you used it? Very much at all, like a couple hours, more than 20 hours. Give me some idea. Just give me some, just so I have some idea of where you guys are, because we're gonna go through this pretty slowly for everybody and everyone's benefit, but I still like to know what kind of experience level we're dealing with. Okay, great. Some of you haven't used it at all, so this will be very useful, I hope. Okay, awesome. All right, so about 10 hours. Yeah, okay, great. So a long time there. Okay, so this is a fully customized, these are the features that are going to be included in your software. Like I said, try not to get hung up on them, but we still need to know that they're there. So you have the fully customized lead contact management system, and we'll go into these details in the next slides. So you have the fully customizable PBX style phone system. You have an outbound call management system and dialer. You've also got a call recording and tracking features and capabilities. You have automated inbound data collection. This is going to be both for your SMS marketing as well as your inbound phone calls. Then we have the whole SMS marketing system and the email marketing system. Okay, so let's go into these one by one. Like I said, this could be kind of pulls on for a while for some. Basically, now the contact and lead management system. So what are some of the features and details that you can do with this? Okay. So in addition to being able to search through and view all of your contacts and their associated information, this customizable contact and leads management system also allows you to import and export existing contact lists. So if you've already got your own list of businesses that you're working with, you're dealing with a new business, and they say, "Hey, I've already got my leads," or "I've got a bunch of people I need to keep." So you can, yeah, absolutely, you can import those contacts with the CSV. You can manage default data fields in your contact records. So let's say, the data fields. Anybody know what a data field is? The data fields are fields of information that you would include on a contact list. So if I'm going to make a new list of contacts and I want to be pulling them from a very specific place and I have very specific information I want on that contact list, like let's say I'm doing a contest or something and I need to know, their address, or not their address, but whether or not they like a certain product, yes or no answer. So that could be a data field that we can include, okay? That maybe wouldn't be included on every other contact list you have. So you can manage those default data fields in your contact records. And you can manage individual contacts from the main list just by doing a search. So you can search from the main list, find one individual person you're looking for. You can make a call from there. You can make notes into their account from there. So these are very important features to actually be using. You can perform advanced searches and reassigning of contact records. You can farm for more leads with the Get Leads feature, which is not something that is used as often anymore, but it's still there. It does about, I think, 3 pages of Google. You can manage contact lead deal status tags and associated actions with those tags. So the deal status tags, these are really important too. If you guys aren't using them, make sure that you guys are getting these set up. That's the ability to actually take an action once, if you're on the phone with a client and you'll be able to say, hey, I made a sale. You want to have one of your deal status tags to be sale. So that's going to take that contact out of that list and put it into another list so that you're not continuing to call somebody that you've already made a sale to with the same, take them out of the list, put them into a different list where you're, nurturing them now that you're your client. So these are important to be using as well, or you also have the do not call, I would imagine too, would be another important one. So you can generate custom embeddable lead forms. Forms can be used on your website or anywhere else on the web through sharing a link, and this is really important. If you guys have a website and when you're talking to clients, you want to let them know, hey, do you have a way to capture leads when you're dealing with people? Can they just sign up and become part of your list? You should have something like that on every single page of your website. And you should also always be offering something of value to incentivize someone to sign up. All right, so that does it for that one. Does anybody have any questions on this page before I move on? And I will give you guys on this one, we'll do questions on every page, okay? So I'll give you a couple seconds you can be typing them in as I'm talking if you want. I'll come back to them at the end of the page as well, so we don't get stuck sitting at the end of the page just waiting to see if anybody has any questions. So go ahead and bear that in mind. If I miss it, I'll come back to you. We'll go ahead and move forward. And if you have any questions, just type them as we're going, okay? All right, so let's talk about the custom phone system, okay? So this is a web-based phone system and allows you to create a completely customizable call answering procedure on any inbound phone number you purchase through the software. So the inbound call procedure, called the call flow, can be as simple as ringing to voicemail or as complex as multiple enumerated menu items at various points during the call. So let's talk about all the things that you could do with the call flow so that you know how diverse this phone system is, okay? So basically, all of these should say a recorded audio greeting for this. What I mean when I say recorded audio or greeting is you can actually upload an MP3 of this, or you can go text to speech. So this is your greeting message. When you're doing your PBX style phone system, you're setting it up, you can include a greeting message. You can have as many numbered items as you want in the menu so that when somebody pushes 1 or 2 or 3, they can go to sales, they can go, wherever you need them to go, transfer them to the correct department. You can also do a direct dial transfer. So if you're trying to, call someone's phone specifically, like maybe something out of the network, sometimes you might use your cell phone in this situation, which we don't always recommend doing, but it's possible. You can go ahead, they'll push a number and it'll go right to your cell phone. You can do multiple dial transfer, which is what we use for the most part when we're trying to send you to a specific department. So the multiple dial transfer, it would transfer the call to multiple system members simultaneously, randomly, or sequentially. Now, if we're doing this simultaneously, which is what we recommend doing, that means everybody that you have on that group is going to ring at the same time. So if you have a call group set up with like 3 people in it or 5 people in it, it'll ring to every single one of them at the same time. Whoever answers the phone first is the one who gets the call. That's good for sales departments to set up that way. If you do it randomly or sequentially, both of those goes in a sequence. One of them's random, one of them is in order. The only difference is that it'll ring to one at a time, and that could keep somebody waiting on the phone for a very long period of time while it's ringing to everybody. So that's why we don't recommend using those 2 options. You can initiate an SMS dialogue. So a text message campaign can be started within the call flow. You can include that in your numeric menu options, or you can just include it as an automatic part of the call flow. So the conversation campaign will automatically capture multiple data multiple data. Does that really make sense? Anyway, received from the user. So I would say multiple fields of data. You can capture a lot of information in the conversation campaign. We'll get into that in more detail on the SMS slide that we're going to be talking about. And obviously, you can leave a voicemail, which would be recorded audio or text to speech, and then there's the hang up, which would end the call. So let's see. I do have some questions over here. Let me go to see what we got. Okay, here's a question I keep meaning to ask. Do we have? Okay, and if so, do we tell them that before we? Right, as of right now, you do have to. This is kind of off. This is on topic but off topic, and this will probably be a better question for Andy. But as far as I understand, you do have to sign up with Twilio directly. And if you guys don't know what Twilio is, you shouldn't. During the sales process, no, I wouldn't worry about getting into Twilio. In the future, we are trying to set up our own system so that you don't have to go through Twilio. You can go through us, and we'll go through Twilio for you. But that's a ways out. And as I said, I wouldn't worry about getting into that in the sales process. Hopefully that kind of gives you a better answer to that. Any further details you would need on that, ask Andy. He would be the one who would be more he would be better able to answer that for you. That's a little more technical, okay? Okay, can the system catch recorded answers instead of SMS answers? Oh, okay, so you're saying, Claude was wondering, can the system capture somebody leaving a voicemail and include that in a data field? Is that your question, if I understand it correctly? Okay, no, at this time, it cannot do that. That's an interesting, I've never heard that one come up. That's a new one to me. So that would be saying, instead of doing it via SMS, you could have a recorded question, they would give a recorded answer, and they'd have to translate to speech to text, and then record that. That would have some complications to it, possibly. I'm not sure that we've even considered adding that, but I'll make a note of that. It's interesting. Okay, so you guys have any more questions? Just go ahead and include them on the next slide, okay? So let's talk about the outbound call management system and dialer and what it can do. So this is, as I said again, this is your web-based outbound call system. So the idea behind this is the dialer, And the idea behind the dialer is it's going to move you through your phone calls as efficiently and quickly as possible. So it's going to, what you will do is you'll compile a list of contacts. You'll create an outbound call campaign for those contacts, and you'll start that campaign and it'll start dialing. So while you're going through these calls, you can keep your database current as with all of the different, if you actually have the manual, you'll be able to see this, and I should include this slide actually, but there's a map that we have in there of the dialer. And there, as you can see, when you're in the dialer, there's a ton of features in there. There's probably a ton of buttons on the top. I'm trying to remember from memory what it looks like exactly, but there's probably at least like 20 buttons in there that you could use that will help you, if you know what they mean, to effectively and efficiently keep track and notes of everything that's going on in a call while right there in live time while you're on the call, which is exactly what you want to do. Keeping current data and keeping notes of your interactions with your clients is so important. I can't emphasize it enough. You want to be able to know every time you go back to that record exactly what's been going on with them. That's essential. Really, it is. It's very important. And I've probably just gone into pretty much everything we've got here, so let's talk about this. Specifically, we have quick status updates. So these are fully customizable buttons, okay? Like I said, customizable means that when you set up this is something that I do believe this is controlled from the Contacts tab, but at any rate, you can customize these buttons to allow you to tell the database, the results of your call, whether or not to move the contact to another list, so on and so forth. But these are, as I said, they're customizable buttons that have either notes or actions associated with them. And they're quick status updates. Like we said, you can just push the button and say not interested, or you can push a button and say, call back, call back basically. You can also book appointments right there from the dialer. You can book appointments directly to your calendar or to somebody else's calendar if you need, if you're calling for someone else. You can also schedule callbacks, and this is another really important feature that you guys should be using anytime you're on the phone with somebody. If you know, hey, right there, you just talked to them and you say to yourself, I want to call this person back and I want to do it in a week, or that person's really cold. I don't see any reason to call them back anytime soon. It might schedule them out for 3 months, you know what I mean? And, your callbacks will always show up on your dashboard. Whenever you log in, if you have callbacks on a certain day, it'll show up on the upper right-hand corner of your dashboard that you have so many callbacks to do today. And it's like the dashboard, using the system, making sure that you're getting in there and actually seeing what you have in there is so essential to actually making full use of it. So as I said, schedule a reminder to call someone back is really important, and yeah, show up on your dashboard. Or they can also send you an SMS or email. I forgot about that. So notations, you can actually just make notes regarding the content of the call. So you can type those things in on the call. There should be a spot down at the bottom of your screen. Usually it's like somewhere down here, I think, if you're on screen. And you can just type right into it. This is what happened. This is what they said. If you would rather do that. And I myself prefer to do that because that's kind of the experience that I've had in the past, was always making physical notations. And it's great for anybody else that might at some point in time work the record. You know what I mean? So you can also transfer the call. You can transfer the call to another user in your system. So if you've got a salesperson that wants to transfer it to or a lead generating person to transfer to a sales or a closer, you can do that. If you want to transfer from technical support, you can probably set that up too. You can access call scripts, so you can enter these templates in for your salespeople or for whoever else that they might need it for. When you're talking to another company that might be using this is another thing that you can let them know. Hey, we can put templates in here so that when your people log in, they'll have that at their fingertips. They can say, okay, this is what I want you to be talking about. And you can also send emails and text messages right there from the dialer. So, and these can be templated, or they cannot, or you can type them in as you go. But either way, if you have a mobile phone number in that contact record, you can send them a text message. If you don't have a mobile phone number in there, then you can't. Same goes for email. If you have an email address in the record, then you can send them an email. If you don't, then you can't. And might I also say, I don't know if I actually mentioned this in here, but when you're going through these calls, you'll have the data fields will be right there on your screen, and you will be able to update these in live time. So if you're on the phone with a contact and you see that you don't have an email address for them, go ahead and get it from them. Do some data mining, type it right into that spot, and there it is. You'll have it now going forward next time you need to contact them or need to send them an email. So that's also important, that this is live time updates right there on the phone. And do we have any questions about some of the things that we can do here in the dialer? It's a very, very content-rich system or feature-rich system. And as I said, it's difficult to not get hung up on the features. It's good to know what can and cannot be done, but at the same time, try not to get stuck on it. Okay, any questions so far about this? I think that in the next one I do, I'm going to try to include a picture of the actual dialer in here. I think that would be very helpful. Just a second, guys. Okay. So next one that we're going to talk about here. If you guys have any more questions, just go ahead and type them in, and I'll address them as I can. So so call tracking and recording. Okay, so anytime a new campaign is created in your software, you have the ability to record and track the calls that are received or made in this campaign. So as I said, when you're creating it, there's a little radial down at the bottom. Just click, yes. I would recommend recording all of them. Any campaign you create that gives you the option to record it, I say record it. That's just, that's me. So why would you want to do that? Now you can track and record incoming calls. Okay, so anyone who calls into your inbound line, if you click that recording feature, you're gonna be able to record it. So let's just say that you just started a new ad campaign and you want to know whether or not it's actually going to be effective. So you'll never have to use a call tracking service again with this feature. You can manage all your own tracking numbers, and every number you create could be a tracking number. If you've got, like, let's say a Google ad, a postcard, let's say your website. Okay, so there's 3 places. Maybe you want to say, hey, I'm going to put a phone number on my website. I'm going to put a different phone number on my marketing piece that I have going out. I'm going to put another number on my Google ad. Okay, and I want to know if anybody's calling the number on my Google ad or if they're actually clicking that ad and going through to my site. That's a really good way to track and measure that. Okay, so you just have to make 3 different inbound campaigns for that, 3 unique inbound campaigns, and only use those inbound numbers in the places that you're trying to track. If you start using an inbound phone number like on a business card and on your website, which is fine, you could do that, but just know that those are, you can't really track one of them if you're using it in multiple places. That kind of, makes sense. So you can dial in on your training. Now, how are your calls being handled? Do your representatives have enough information? Are they handling the calls the way you want them to? Now you'll know who's strong on the phone and who maybe needs some more coaching. This is really important too for any business that has a lot of people that are making phone calls for them. I mean, everybody wants to know how their calls are being handled. Are they dealing with your clients the way that you want them to be dealt with? We also have lifetime monitoring, which is not really necessarily called tracking and recording, but it is a feature that is available. Your salespeople won't have this available to them, but they should know that it's available to managers if they're making a sale, if they need to mention that. So even more training tools, basically, you can kind of get into that conversation right in the middle, and you can monitor at live time. So very valuable thing there. Do we have any questions on this slide? Let me see what I got. Okay, so I do have some questions, guys. Are many numbers dialed at a time here? What happens if you talk to someone and another person answers? Okay, let me see if I can make sense of that. Do you have to tell contacts that you are, okay, do you have to tell contacts that you're recording them every time you do so? Is that automated? It's funny that you asked that about the recording of the calls. So depending on the state you're in, you technically may have to tell someone that you're recording the call. Now, usually what will happen is it'll be like, for quality assurance purposes, this call is being recorded. That's a really good question. I can't say for certainty that whether or not our system does that automatically. I'm thinking it does, but I'm not certain, unfortunately. Actually, that's a very good question. Let me get you an answer to that, and I can send it out to you via email at the end of the class, because I have to verify that. Or even better, you can ask Andy too if I don't get back to you in time, because he would know definitely on that. But that is a really good question, and in some states it's required, in some states it's not. So it's important, I guess, for you to know what the laws are in your state, if it's a two-party state, or if it's a one-party state, believe it or not. Okay, I will, Lois. All right, so I wish I had a better answer for you, but we'll have to look into that. And as I said, if I ask Andy to confirm it as well, okay? Hold on just a second. Starting to lose my voice here. Okay, hopefully that's better. All right, so let's move on. We're going to talk about automated inbound data collection. So basically, this is going to never lose potential lead again. Inbound customer data can be automatically captured on every call and even over text messages. So how does this work? So all of your inbound calls, every incoming call over the system will automatically store the caller's data and update the contact right there when you answer the call. So basically, when somebody calls in, you will, if you've never heard from them before, you're just going to have a phone number populate in your system, and it'll also show you what campaign they're calling from as well. It's up in the top part of your screen. I should probably put some more stuff on here to actually illustrate this better. So I think I'm going to do that. At any rate, so basically, when somebody calls in, you'll see the campaign that they're calling from, and you'll see a phone number. And if you don't see anything else, that means that you don't have any other data associated with that phone number. So when you answer the phone, you'll want to populate that data so that next time when that person calls back, that data is available to you. And you'll be like, okay, I know who this is. All right. So, and as I said, it's going to automatically capture all this information. So whether or not you do put someone's name in there, if you put nothing in there, the exact same information will populate next time, but you'll still have that data available in your contact records. There just won't be a name associated with it. So then we have the standard SMS campaign. So if you're going to initiate an SMS campaign, when a customer texts in to interact with that campaign, so you'll have, let's say, text something, text a keyword to a phone number. And when somebody actually does that to interact with a campaign, their phone number will be automatically entered into the database. But that's all the data that it will capture on that campaign. Now, the conversation campaign. So when somebody texts in to interact with you on a conversation campaign, that customer's record is created, and the user has entered a series of questions, which the user would be you. So let's just say, on a conversation campaign, you're going to have a series of questions that you want answers to. Let's say you're trying to get enough information to fill out an application for them of some sort. So you would say, what's your first name? What's your last name? What's this? What's that? What's your phone number? What's the best time of day to call you? Any kind of question you would want. Okay, so whatever, these questions will be asked one at a time. Every time the person or the potential customer texts in his answer will be automatically recorded into the database in that field, and the next question will pop up, and it will continue in that sequence, in that fashion, until all of your questions have been asked. So now, obviously, there's no quality control on the information you get. I mean, if you ask somebody what's their address, and they put in their phone number or just nothing of that's not their address. I mean, there's no way to really quality control that. But whatever they do put into that text field will be populated into their record. Oh, any questions about that before I move on? Okay. What if someone calls in from a brand new number, but that person is already in our system, but under a different phone, and we don't know? Okay. Does the system bring up that existing record if we type in the name, email of the caller calling from a new number? Okay, so basically you're saying that if somebody that's already in your system has been calling you from their cell phone, and then they get a brand new business line, and they just decide to call you from that, and you put in their information on it, will it merge the records together? Is that kind of what I'm understanding here? That's a good question. From what I understand, no, it won't automatically merge the records, but Andy would be a better person to ask for that. I hate to defer all of these to him, but he would know more specifically. I do know that if the same person calls you in from a different phone number, it would basically create two different contact records for them, and because it would be based on the phone number. Now, does that mean that there's not a way around that or a way to merge those together efficiently? No, there probably is, but since it's so technical, I'm going to defer to Andy on that one because I don't have a solid answer for you there. So, but as far as I understand, it would make two different records. However, if somebody is in your system already, as I said, it will populate when they do call in by that number. So, okay, moving on. Sorry to challenge you with tech questions. This is okay. I do my best. Okay, so now the SMS marketing system. So let's get into detail about this really quick. I just want to go over some stats here. So according to a study conducted by Juniper Research, 97% of text messages are read by the cell phone owner, and 90% of those text messages are read within 4 to 6 minutes of delivery. Okay, so that's some pretty powerful stuff. I mean, 97% of text messages are read, they're read by the owner. So it's like the person that you're trying to get through to, the owner of the phone is 97% of the time is going to read those. And 90% of those text messages are going to be read within 4 to 6 minutes. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I don't think there's any other communication tool out there that has those kind of success numbers, to be honest. So, what better way to keep in touch with your subscribers? The SMS marketing system, basically we don't push this enough, I don't think, here at headquarters, but I would say we need to really be thinking of ways that you can go about getting people to subscribe to your SMS lists. And we need to be trying to really push using this, because this is very powerful. Now, the only thing is, and this we'll talk about more in the applications section, is what's the right type of campaign to use with an SMS, with an SMS communication feature. But we'll talk about that in the applications, so stick with me here. These are the things that can be done. We have an autoresponder SMS campaign, which is basically designed to keep you in front of your subscribers at specific intervals in time. It's going to automate your key customer communications, your sales offers, or reminders. So basically, you'll have a campaign that'll start whenever you add a contact to that list. So you'll have your SMS marketing list, and you'll put a new contact in it, and boom, the first text message goes out. Let's say the next one's set to go out 3 days later, so 3 days later, automatically your next one goes out. 10 days later, automatically the next message goes out. Now, this is not something where somebody can text back and you can collect any data, unfortunately. This would be something that somebody would have to subscribe to in advance. So you would have this contact already existing and you want to stay in front of them, so you send them the autoresponder. They've already subscribed and given you permission to do this, so you're fine. And the email works very similarly to that. Basically, whenever a new person's added, that's when that chain of events begins. So you're going to have probably all your contacts in that list, many of them will be on a different interval at a different point in time, but the intervals from when it starts will always be the same, if that makes sense. Let's see really quick. What about responses to the text messages? Okay, so hopefully I addressed that. Yeah, you cannot record any data from somebody responding on an autoresponder. So hopefully that answers your question. Sorry. Then we have the standard SMS campaign. So, with any SMS campaign, offer an incentive to encourage those interested in your services to subscribe to your marketing. So in this case, a lot of times you might say, hey, text in for a chance to win, blah, 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 blah. Let's just say that's a pretty simple example. Okay, so somebody would text your keyword into the number that you have, and then that would subscribe them to the list. There's some specific things that you have to say in a text message campaign. They're covered in the manual, and I do believe Andy will cover them briefly in his 5-day technical training webinars. So I wouldn't get hung up on that. Just so you know that they're there and they're available in the manual. Walk you right through it. So on this one, as I said, it's going to automatically capture their phone number, and that's you can automatically capture phone number. You can actually capture email address as well, but you have to. That's an extra step in the standard SMS campaign. You have to ask the user to input that. So for the conversation campaign. So let's just say you have a more complex offer. Let's say, as you were saying, maybe you have an application that somebody's going to be signing up for. You want them to do a brief application. I wouldn't ever recommend putting a ton of questions into any of these text message campaigns, because at some point someone is going to lose interest and stop answering. Technically, you can put in you can enter as many questions as you like. I would just say, hey, you should be reasonable, use common sense. Someone's not going to sit there and answer questions for an hour, more than likely over text message. So every time somebody texts back the answer, as I said, the next question will be asked, and that will continue until you're out of questions. So whatever they type in is what you get, and that's going to go right into that data field in that contact record in the database. And I see we have some more questions, so hold on just a second. Okay. So could we offer them to converse with us through SMS conversation whenever we give them a recording? So for example, press 1 if you want to leave a recorded message, press 2 if you prefer to communicate via text message to answer a few questions to help us serve you best. I think I understand what you're asking there, and I think the answer to that is yes. But this goes back to, we're talking about here would be the phone menu correctly. Is that what we're talking about? So you would say during your inbound call flow. Is that what the question is? During the inbound call flow, make that an option for them. Press 1 if you want to do this. Press 2 if you want to communicate via text message to answer a few questions. Yes, you can do that. And then you could, when you press 2, you could initiate the SMS conversation campaign, which would begin that conversation with the user. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So yeah, that's an interesting one. That's a good one. All right, moving on. And then the last one we have here is the email marketing system, and then we're going to get into the applications. I promise it'll be a little bit faster pace at going ahead. So again, emails are valuable. The email marketing system is valuable, and the average person spends 13 hours per work week working in their email, or this is per work week working in their email. So email communications can be very effective when the message is formatted to meet your objectives. So email marketing features in this system are very similar to the ones in the SMS system. You've got the autoresponder, which is basically just like we talked about. It goes out in intervals in time. It's going to help you automate those key customer communications, keep your offer top of mind, keep your business top of mind. Use it to do sales tips. Use it to do any kind of tip communications, any kind of added value you want to give. The autoresponder has a lot of useful features. Okay, then we also have the standard email campaign, which is just to send your message to your contact list quickly using a standard what you see is what you get content editor. Send your message immediately or schedule it at a time you feel it would be best received. So let's say you want to put something together, but you don't want to send it until like Wednesday night or Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. or I don't know, whatever time you have come to decide is the best time to send emails for your particular market. You can schedule it to do that. Also, something to remember is we have personalized tokens. So the personalized tokens have a lot of variety of uses. So first of all, if you have a first name in your contact record, you can include a token that says first name. And you can include a token that says last name. The only trouble is make sure that you know what data you have in your record, because if you've got no first name there and you put the first name token in, then you're just going to have something on the screen that just says first name on it. It's not going to include their first name. So make sure you know what data you have in your list before you go using those things. However, one thing that is important to use the tokens for, let's just say, for example, we have unsubscribe link, which is something you should be including on your emails if any kind of marketing communications, you want to be using the unsubscribe link. So you're going to put that at the bottom of all your emails. And I think the manual goes into more detail on how when it's necessary to use that. It gives people the ability to unsubscribe and automatically be taken off your list. So tokens have a variety of uses. Some of them are just for personalization. Some of them are for to help keep you in compliance. So okay, question here we have, does it have regarding Pixel available? Is that supposed to be, does it have retargeting Pixel? I know that we have pixels. Okay, do I know we have pixels that'll tell you whether or not it's been read or been opened? I mean, so we have something, we do track the emails to tell you if they've been opened or not. We do not have a retargeting pixel, although I do believe that that's a feature that's going to be coming out within the next 3 to 4 months, possibly. Okay, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that we're onto that one. So we do want to get more link tracking and things like that included in this our marketing system here, the email marketing. Okay, so then you also have the ability to add multiple SMTP servers. So don't be restricted by the limitations of one SMTP server. So let's say you've got a Google account and it's a business account, so you can add as many email users as you want, and you want to make a new one to be sent out for this campaign. Let's say you want to make PR@yourdomain.com. Let's say make that email address, and you wanted to be sending emails specifically from that one. You could add that one in there in addition to the one that you're using for your main address. You could use multiple servers at the same time to do for multiple different campaigns, or you could just be doing it to not be restricted by the limitations of one SMTP server, which I think on Google accounts is 500 a day. So this is another useful feature. I mean, a lot of people aren't sending that many emails a day, but if you are, you have the ability to do that. I think that concludes our features part here. So yep. These are just a quick overview of the features. Did anybody have any questions? Feel free to ask them now. Okay, so I'll be keeping an eye on that because we're almost done with this section. So basically, as we always say, try not to get caught up on the features. Let's talk about what the benefits of all these features are, and we're going to sum them up in a really simplified way, okay? And this is kind of like the non-simplified version, but this is the CRM, for example, which is this part up here. Offers the ability to view details of each customer, their previous interactions, and schedule future interactions. This means more effective communication, less clients falling through the cracks, and inevitably increased efficiency. So increased efficiency is the key here. This is a recurring theme, as you will find. Another quick thing here is our web-based software is software as a service. So there's no server required. You can work from anywhere and bring remote teams together under one system. So basically everything in this system is designed to increase your efficiency, make your life easier, and save time, and we all know time is money. So no matter what you're dealing with here, this is going to, the call recording and tracking feature is going to make you more efficient, help you dial things in. The dialer is absolutely going to do that. It's going to move you through your contact list much faster, move you through those calls faster. It's going to be more efficient. It's going to save you time, and we all know time is money. So no matter what you're looking at here, it all kind of boils down to the same thing. So just bear that in mind. You're always working on how this is benefiting people. Okay, so any questions about the features before we move on, or about the benefits, or talking about benefits? And I know that Mark will get into much better detail about actually selling the benefits and how to actually make the sale tomorrow. So if you have questions about that, save them for Mark. He's the one to talk to. All right, so target markets. Not all products and services are meant for all types of consumers. So whether a business is selling washing machines or lawn maintenance services, the business needs to understand their customer if they want to maximize their sales. So what is a target market, and why is it important for you to know? You need to know when you're dealing with the customer, who is that customer's target market? Who is your target market? Okay, so this kind of goes both ways. If you're doing sales, you want to be able to quickly identify who the target market of your customer is, as well as you need to know who is your target market so you know who to make the sale to. So a target market is a group of customers at which a company aims its products or services. Pretty simple. And as we just talked about, having a general idea of a prospect's target market will help you describe potential applications of our software specific to the person's business. So target market, a business's target market will be defined by answering questions like, and you guys kind of look at these here, you'll see what we're talking about. What do they do for a living? Where do they live? What do they stand to gain? But most importantly for us is, do they sell to businesses or to consumers? Okay, because you'll see why this is important for us. So this just kind of goes over, what is the sales process like for a business to consumer versus business to business. As you can see here, for the business to consumer sale, it's usually a little bit more simplified. Decisions are made by only one person, two at most if they're married. There's a much quicker purchasing process, and an individual is more likely to purchase impulsively as opposed to a business. So business to business sales, the purchase process usually involves, multiple people from multiple levels of seniority if you're working with a company of that size. A lot of companies we work with tend to be much more single business owners, so that's not always the case. And they tend to put more consideration into the risks associated with the expenditures, so that's important to understand. But as I said, when you're dealing with smaller companies, the purchasing process can also be much more simplified than this as well. So know your target market. The solution you have to offer will help define your target market. All right, so the solution that we're offering should help you understand who can use that better, who needs this solution. All right, so before we move on to the applications of the software, do we have any questions regarding what we've covered so far? Anybody? I'll give you guys a second since we're moving on to the last section here. I could probably use to go a little bit slower on some of these things. I do apologize if it seems like I'm going really fast. And you guys should feel free to slow me down at any point in time asking questions. I'll be more than happy to take some more detailed time and get into specifics of what I mean if it's confusing. So let's go ahead and continue. So now we're going to talk about the applications of our software. So how do we apply what we have to customers? Like, okay, so now we've got all these features and we're trying to sell the benefits. So how do we find out who is our market and what do they need? Okay, so these are some of the, we're going to just cover some of the main benefits and features and how it would work. Okay, so this application is something I call prospecting automation. This is the application of your system. So if you're doing prospecting automation, the types of businesses that are probably going to benefit from the type of automation we're talking about now are going to be marketing and ad agencies, web designers, graphic designers. And the reason I've picked these businesses here would be because these are businesses who are looking to work with other businesses. Okay, and then they don't have a specific thing that they can offer. Any business needs marketing. Any business is probably going to need a web designer. Any business is going to need a graphic designer. Okay, so these are all, printing agencies would also fall under this category. So businesses that any business could use. Merchant services might even fall into that category. So these businesses also offer a product or service that is not too restrictive or specialized. Okay, and that's kind of what I just said when we were talking about this. Something any business can use. So how does this look in your software? So basically, we have a lead finder tool that you'd be using. Then from there, those leads that are being pulled would go right into your database management CRM. Before I move on, I just wanted to say this lead finding tool only pulls business leads, only pulls commercial leads. And that's why it's important that this is being used for businesses, for B2B, businesses looking to work with other businesses, because that's all we can do with this tool is pull commercial leads. Okay. So basically you pull those leads, it'll go right into your database management system. From there, you could send an email if you have that data, which is available. Or you could, and then after you send an email, you could be following up with the dialer. You could be making those phone calls and saying, hey, did you get my email? Or you could be making those phone calls just right out, even if you wanted to. Rather than doing the email step, just go right ahead and make a phone call. Put them all on your list and just go into the dialer and start calling them, cold calling if you want to. That's still something that people do. So this is what I would call the prospecting automation application. And I call it prospecting because it's basically it's able to pull those leads from public places like the internet, web services, things like that, other listings, and then from there it automatically goes right into the database. So this is a third-party application actually at this point, you might say. Can you show a previous slide? Okay, so I got can you show a previous slide? You mean this slide up here? Is that what you meant? Or Claude, just curious, I just saw that you got a question there. No, okay. Okay, I'm confused. Okay. That's fine. Okay. The one before the last. Okay. So so you want me to go back up to target markets? Is that what you're saying? Okay. The one before last. Okay. So it would be okay. It's regarding the two applications. Okay. So we're talking about here. So you mean like the step before it, not the slide before it here, right? Yeah. Okay. I think I'm in the right spot. Two applications. Think, right? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Did you have a specific question about this, or you just wanted to take a look at it? Okay. All right. So we're moving on, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. By the way, this is I can send this to you, Claude, if you want. I can send this PowerPoint to you. Okay. Moving on. All right. So inbound. So this is the inbound call database and marketing automation application. Okay. So for your inbound call database and marketing automation application, that's a mouthful. Some of the example businesses that might have a use for this type of application would include restaurants, carpet cleaners, pest control companies, businesses that want to capture incoming calls, okay? And the reason this is, we'll get into in just a minute, but this is how I pick these businesses. This would be businesses that receive a high volume of incoming phone calls, as well as offer a product or service consumers can use on a semi-regular basis, at least once a year. So someone that they would want to get in touch with again, so that they can automatically say, hey, this person's calling me. They're probably not calling me to find out what time it is or what the weather's like. They're probably calling me because they're potentially interested in using my services. So whether or not they buy from me, I want to keep that data. I want to know who they are, and I want to be able to market to them going forward. So as I said, incoming call handling and data capture. So it's going to automatically manage those calls as well as capture the data. And if you've got the right person answering those phones, they can put their name in, put all the information they need right there in live time into that contact record, so that whether or not they buy from you, you can still market to them going forward. Okay, then from there, as we said, automatically it's capturing data. It's going right into your database manager, which is your CRM. And from there, you can continue to market to them using email automation, such as the autoresponder or just your standard broadcast emails. You could be using the SMS automation if you get permission to do so with the autoresponder and broadcast SMS, which, as I said, anytime you can think of an opportunity to get permission to communicate with someone via SMS, do it, because that's a great way to keep in touch with people. And I forgot to add the part down here where I can say, or you could just call them. Point blank, you could just put them in the, since you've got their data, you collected it, put them in the dialer and keep in touch with them that way. Quality assurance. Let's say you want to do a follow-up after you've just gone to their house as a pest control company. Hey, how was our guy? Was he polite? Was he courteous? Did he, put his little booties on his little shoes so that they didn't get your carpet all messy? I don't know. But, those types of things are all valuable. So this is the inbound call data and marketing automation applications of our software that then, as I said, these are the types of companies that would probably look to use it, mostly businesses that want to capture incoming call data, and they do get a lot of incoming calls. So if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and be typing these in as I talk, since we are after 10 o'clock, and I think we're going to 12:30, but let's go ahead and roll through this. Okay, and I'll keep an eye on that. We'll go back and cover any questions you guys might have had after, like, I think we only have like 2 or 3 slides left. So, okay, so SMS applications. So example businesses that would want to use this would be, and we'll go into this, why I picked these businesses just a second. So local entertainment, go-karts, mini golf, retail, restaurants, businesses with a high likelihood of engaging with their market through SMS. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so if they have a high likelihood of engaging with their market through SMS. Now you have to understand SMS marketing or text message marketing is a little bit different than, let's say, calling someone's business or sending them a letter in the mail. I mean, SMS marketing, as we said, it's very personal. When I get a text message, it's I don't expect it to be from a complete stranger. So you want to make sure you have permission, first of all, to communicate with someone like that. Now, whether or not you'll be able to get people to sign up and subscribe, I think will depend a lot on the type of business that you're running. So if you've got a local entertainment business, if you're doing go-karts, if you're doing mini golf, if you're doing retail, if you're doing food, you're doing things people like, fun things that they want to be notified about. If you're doing retail and you have a special running and you have 50% off one day only, hey, somebody might want to know about that if they go to your store frequently. So that would be the type of business that I think would be successful engaging with people via SMS marketing, okay, in this way, in the way of text in and subscribe and keep in touch with them. Now, I think I've also talked about this before, but I also had, when you sign up for things, like if you're signing up for a doctor's office, a lot of times they will automatically put in their paperwork that you sign that they can send you SMS messages to keep in touch with you, or they can auto dial you as well, something else they do if they need to do collections on you. So these are all the types of things that, whether or not you want to hear it or not from your doctor, that might be something that they automatically include in their paperwork. So that's kind of a side point. Anyway, so business is planning on beginning or already doing some form of advertising. This is another business that would make it for a good candidate. And the reason I say that is because the problem with SMS marketing is somebody has to actually communicate with it. So you have to put a number out there somewhere where someone can see it and then subscribe to it. So if you've already got, let's say, a radio ad running, or you've already got a direct mail piece running, those are good places that you could stick that type of ad. So you could say in your radio commercial, hey, text keyword to this number to enter drawing, or you could stick that on your direct mail piece, which might even make more sense because then it's written down, and somebody can actually do that in their own time. And that's also a good way to track the types of things types of marketing you have as well, or, but you just, like I said, always got to offer something of value in order to get somebody to interact with your SMS marketing messages. Ugh, that's a long one. And then businesses wanting to automate collecting subscriber data. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. Hey, let's say you've got a lot of information you want to collect. We've already talked about this ad nauseum, I think. So we'll continue. So how does this look? How does it work? So SMS data collection. The standard SMS campaign and the conversation campaign are the two that we're going to talk about right now. So how does this work? You collect the data from somebody. They have already texted into your campaign, and you've started an SMS campaign, or a conversation campaign or a standard campaign. So they've already texted in, you started that. Now their data is automatically collected and it goes right into your database manager, CRM. From there, if you collected their email address, you'll be able to send them an email. If you haven't, then you won't. And I would highly suggest that you try to actually capture that data. Then you can also continue to send them SMS messages in the future, keep in touch with them that way. And once again, the third thing I didn't add is that you could put that information into your dialer and you could be calling them personally to keep in touch with them. As long as you have permission to do so, since these are probably cell phones we're talking about, that could be, that's something that I think you have to have permission for now. So we did have some changes to that. You'll want to talk to Andy about those details. Okay, moving on. Let's see, you could stick it on, yes, pay-per-click ads. That's something else Claude brings up really quick. You could stick that number as well on pay-per-click ads. Another way of even tracking or, encouraging people to with something of value to subscribe to your SMS list. Good idea. Another one. Okay, so now another one. We could ask them if calling them is okay via SMS. Yes, you can. As far as I know, you can. I'm not an attorney, but yes, that should be an opt-in. You can opt in that way. So call tracking applications. This is, I think, the last application that I have, and obviously there's much more. There's a lot there's tons of applications you can think of with this with the system you're using. These are some of the basic ones that I came up with, so you would know who can use these types of applications that we have to offer. So most all businesses can use this feature, the call tracking applications. However, businesses with the following attributes will make the most use of it, and that will include businesses that want to track and monitor the effectiveness of their different advertising and marketing. We talked about this, I think, already, as well as businesses that want to be able to monitor the phone skills and habits of themselves or their staff. So this is how it looks, okay? Same thing, incoming data capture, as well as the phone handling. Then we go right down here to basically this is going to be included in pretty much all your other campaigns that we've looked at, as long as you opt to actually record the calls. And this is when you make the campaign, you have to select yes, record incoming, or record calls made over this campaign. I forget how it's worded, but yes, record calls. Select that, and you will have the ability to do this. Now from there, this is something that I don't think we talk enough about, is that you can export detailed reports and listen to calls to call audio. So now that you actually have the information, make use of it, because that's not something that I think that we do even here in our office enough. So we've got the data collected, we've actually recorded these calls. Hey, go in and listen to them, because what's the point if you're not actually paying attention? So especially if you're tracking a campaign, make sure you actually get into your reports, pull those reports, and see if you're getting those calls. I mean, what's the point of doing it if you don't actually look? So you can, like I said, actually pay attention to your analytics that you're getting here if you want to make use of this feature. Otherwise, it's kind of a moot point. And that brings us to the end. So I know it's kind of an abrupt ending, right? But does anybody have any questions about anything that we've covered today in the applications section? Any questions at all? Like I said, if you the actual selling of the system, Mark will go into in much more detail tomorrow. He'll tell you what you need to do every day and how to go through that process of making these sales. But does anybody have any questions at this point in time regarding any of the features, any of the applications, anything that the system can do? And unfortunately, it's okay. So yes, what integrations with third party do we have? Okay, so third party integrations would be other outside softwares and outside things that you can plug and play with what we have. And unfortunately, I can't mention all of them off the top of my head, though. If you're talking about major ones that plug and play, we haven't developed them yet. We are trying to work on some of them. We're trying to work on getting a couple different companies out there to plug and play with what we've got. So, but I can't really mention all of them, but they're out there. Okay, have you tracked vertical niches to see which have been most profitable? Okay, have you tracked vertical niches? Now that's an interesting term, Lois. What exactly do you mean by that, so I know that we're on the same page? Vertical niches, to see what have been the most profitable. That's the question. So what do you mean by vertical niches? If anybody else has any questions, please feel free to type them in while we're doing this. Let's see. Okay, so dentists, vets, is that just an example? Okay, so you're just saying, have I tracked, have we paid attention to who we have the most success with? Is that what you're asking? We have found that if you're actually selling the software, we have had the most success going business to business, and this is the way we've used it mostly, using this approach, the prospecting automation approach. This is our main approach that we use. But we also do the, where's the other one that we use? We also do, I don't think I've actually included the other one that we use. It's kind of included here. So we also do the email marketing approach, which is the approach of we handle marketing things. We'll automate your campaign, which is, which you guys should be aware of. But outside of that, these are the types of businesses we've had the most success with, have been businesses that sell business to business, and these are probably our main, our low-hanging fruit, as you would call it. And like I said, Mark will get into really good details on that for you tomorrow. I know that merchant services is not included here, business consultants is not included here, but those would be businesses that would be included here. They would fall under the businesses looking to work with other businesses, and they offer a product or service that is not too restrictive or specialized. So that would also be any business that falls into that category would be kind of under that umbrella. So I had a lot of coaches responding to my campaign, but may have been part of my groups. Okay. Gotcha. That's probably the case. It might have been part of the groups, yeah. So another question we have, maybe that other listeners is wondering how our system customers are doing. Okay, so I have a question here. Basically says maybe that other people listening might be interested to know how our customers are doing after they purchase the software. Um, is that and unfortunately I don't actually have that information. I mean, after somebody, I mean, I know from you guys, sort of for the most part, but I'm like but once we sell it to someone who's, let's just say, doing B2C, like if we were going to sell the software to someone who's doing B2C, we don't necessarily um, get a ton of feedback from them about whether or not they're having success using the system or if they're having success selling it. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. Um, that would be success with a vertical. Okay. So yeah. Well, in that case, then yes, I would stick to the marketing and ad agencies. This is what we've had the most success with. It's low hanging fruit, and you can also run that one by Mark tomorrow. If he will probably give you a uber detailed answer on that one. So, but I can just tell you this is where we've focused mainly. Any other questions, you guys? I know that was like the most horrible roundabout answer you could possibly imagine. It's like, yeah, lots of roundabout details. I think that's something that I would like to see us focus more on. I've probably said this every time I've done this whole this class is I'd like to really see us focus more on trying out the SMS applications. I'd like to find businesses that can really make use of this because I think it's super valuable. Um, would be interesting for you to follow up with Colorado. Okay, check on some feedback. Yeah, that's something that we do need to do. And I think that Andy probably does that more regularly because he's more in contact with you guys on a regular basis to address your technical questions. So I'm just more of the marketing head. I don't necessarily get to talk to you guys all the time. Although some of you are familiar with me, some of you are not. So, all right. Any additional questions? Yeah, and I know that like as, we have someone, Lois says, I want to run SMS campaigns soon, and I know that for our specific industry is selling this software, it's SMS is not as valuable to us. I mean, it's yes, it's a great way to keep in touch with people, but it's as I said, businesses with a likelihood to engage with their market through SMS. I don't know that we fall into that category. So whether or not we use it is another story, as much as it's there for your B2C people that you might be offering this to use, that they might have the value for it. Like, oh, that's super valuable to them. May not be the most valuable to us. I don't think we haven't found the most creative way to implement it for our specific what we do, but it's there for someone else that's doing B2C maybe that would want to be able to have that at their fingertips. So, but still, I'd like to see some more use with that, or someone actually be able to sell it to someone who's using it. I mean, I just don't think we focus enough here at headquarters on that. So, okay, you guys have any other questions? I see we got some more. We could create a business setting SMS service, okay, to a bunch of businesses with our system. Yeah, that's true. We could be outsourcing that feature. We could be outsourcing our SMS feature and setting up different campaigns for various businesses. That's a possibility. You might want to run with that. That way we get the data. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna let you guys go. If you have any other questions, you guys are feel free to ask your manager, or you guys that don't have a manager who are running your own show, just go ahead and send me an email. You'd have my contact data. So it was a pleasure, and don't forget to show up tomorrow for Mark's selling portion of this this two-part series, and look forward to working with you guys in the future. Okay, have a good one. I'm gonna let you go.